Now let's work an example where we're trying to factor a trinomial, that is something with 3 terms in it. And again, we're using the AC method. And so our trinomial needs to have the term with the x squared first, and then the x, and then the constant term at the end. So here we've got an example we're trying to work, and it is already in that form. We've got the x squared, then the x, then the constant term. And so we start out by first determining what is our a, and our b, and our c. Remember, a is whatever is being multiplied by x squared. So here that's going to be a 3. A is 3. B is whatever is being multiplied by x. That's a -2. Make sure you pay attention to your signs. And then c is the constant term at the end. In our example, that's a -8. Now make a little t-chart. On the left, you're going to put what you get when you multiply a times c. On the right, you will put your b. And so a times c would be 3 times -8. That'll give us a -24. B is going to be -2. So we'll put that right there. We are looking for 2 numbers that we multiply and get -24. Since when we multiply them we get a negative number, they must have opposite signs. So one of our numbers is negative, one of them is positive. If we look over here, the bigger number is going to have the same sign as B. That means our bigger number is going to be negative. So now we can go through and try and figure out what might work. Maybe you can come up with the answer right away. If not, here's a systematic way to get there. Let's start with, you could start with 1. That rarely works. We can see that 1 plus -24 is not going to give us the -2. We'll go right to 2. 2 times -12. That would give us -24. When we add them, we get -10. That didn't work. Let's try 3, since 3 goes into 24. 3 times -8, well, that gives us a -5. So we're definitely getting closer, but not there yet. Let's try 4, since 4 goes in there. 4 times -6 would give us a -24. When we add those two together, we get the -2 that we're after. So this is the group, this is the combination that we want to use. Since we can see that when we take 4 plus a -6, that gives us a -2. Remember what we're trying to do is we're trying to replace our middle term. Our middle term is a -2x. We're going to replace that with 4x minus 6x. I'm taking these two numbers, putting x's in front of them. That's what I'm going to replace my -2x with over here. So let's come over here and do that. 3x. Now I don't see a sign in front of the 4. That makes it positive. If it had been negative, I would have put a negative sign there. So it'll be plus 4x minus 6x minus 8. I now have 4 terms. When I have 4 terms, I'm going to try and factor by grouping. I'm going to make a group of 2 here and another group of 2 here, and I'm going to see what I can factor out of those. And so from the first group, but I'm not going to use purple clearly because purple doesn't want to work right now. So we will go with, I don't know, go blue. That'll work. Alright, so we're going to factor out of this first group, we can factor out an x. So it'll be x times what is going to give me 3x. Well, that would be a, oops, this should be a square on here. It's pretty important to write it right. 3x squared. So this would be a 3x. X times 3x gives me 3x squared. Then x times what gives me 4x? Well, that'll be a plus 4. Now we look at the blue set. What can I factor out of -6x minus 8? Well, I can factor out a 2, and I need to put a sign with it. I need to either factor out a positive 2 or a -2. Well, we need to, remember, we're hoping on the inside of the parentheses to end up with the same thing. If I want this to be a positive 3x, I need to factor out a -2. So it'll be a -2 times 3x. A lot of times it's going to be whatever sign is in front of this, but not always. But that would have worked for us this time too. Using a -2, since that was negative, would then make this go positive. So it'll be -2 times 3x gives us -6x. -2 times what gives us -8. That'll be a plus 4. We are hoping that what is inside the parentheses matches, and it does. And that means we did the right thing. We're on the right track. And so now we'll just finish it out. They both have 3x plus 4. That means we can factor out 3x plus 4. What did we multiply times 3x plus 4 here? It was an x. What did we multiply times 3x plus 4 here? It was a minus 2. And that's an example of how you would use AC method.